Hey readers, this is Reading Roleplay. Fair warning, my allergies are they're going wild today. But I'm going to try and get through Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 of How to Roleplay the Hard Way. This is from Shonner Press, written by Shawn Driscoll. It's available for free on DriveThruRPG. So we are on, and Chapter 3 is very short. So we're just going to go through that and then head straight into Chapter 4. Chapter 3, System. Best one to use. Conan, what is best in life? The trick to choosing a game system is to pick one that won't interfere with the game session. Nothing is worse than when a game grinds to a halt while a die roll is made. Die rolls need to be as non-intrusive as possible, and the rules for various actions need to be unified, not spread throughout the book, with every attempt a character can roll having its own separate rules. Players, including the runner, should be able to understand and learn the game system quickly. The rules should make sense for any roleplay situation. Players won't have to look up how something is ruled during a game session in the book. Three-dimensional role-playing games. Ease of roleplay. Three-dimensional role-playing games allow for role-playing. In other words, they do not interfere with the player's roleplay. Having unified rules for actions called skills and bell curve results from their die mechanics creates a perfect environment for role-playing. Bell curves are a necessity, as their distributions are not totally random. Players need some predictability when role-playing their characters. One that proves a range of successful outcomes for characters attempting things. A purely random luck roll invites chaos and is useless for roleplay. Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition is a unified skill-based system that allows characters to attempt things depending on their skills. And the game rules don't need to be looked through during a session to determine how a skill works. The technical die rolling part of this book, the hard part, as it were, is specifically written to be used with either Mongoose Traveler 2nd Editions or Mongoose Traveler Explorers Edition's quick dice roll resolution. Other systems. There are others. As a side note, 3 other excellent role-playing games that can work with this book are Total Party Skills, Core Micro, and with some tinkering, The Void. They are available at DriveThruRPG.com. Even Mongoose Traveler 1st Edition can work as an option. The hard part will need minimal tweaking to work with these game systems. Chapter 4, Roleplay. Character-driven characters. Characters drive themselves. Players should always think about what their characters will attempt next, asking themselves what they would attempt in a situation. What would make sense for their character to attempt? Is this something their character would attempt? Also, the way characters interact with each other is all based on character-driven behaviors. All kinds of situations can come from characters simply being around each other. Even some player versus player can occur if the players agree to such things in the social contract beforehand. Characters' motives and goals. It's what my character would do. Characters should always have goals, always. Motives are the reasons for the goals. One cool thing is that characters may not know the motives of others. So if role-playing an evil character, think of some ulterior motives to have. Goals can be anything from getting to Mars to faking one's death. Most of the time, though, there will be immediate goals to attempt, such as getting out of bed, checking the horse's shoes, making some toast, fixing a blown fuse, updating the firmware of the kid's Bobby Rob, chopping meat for the atrium plants. Not all goals are challenging, many are trivial, but they're still goals. Characters that have hobbies will always find things to attempt while at home. Just note that if characters interested in time travel and art collecting, it doesn't mean that all the other characters are as well. Often characters will go their way because of their own goals. It's a natural result of role-playing characters. Forcing the players to keep their characters together would be out of character for all involved. Narration. This is the most important part of role-playing. Players in the game session are there for the roleplay. They want to roleplay. They're invested in their characters. They can't wait to roleplay them with each other's characters. The players, including the runner, narrate what their characters are attempting. What a character attempts is simply what their character would do. Nothing is attempted out of character. Keep in mind that characters are character-driven. Some characters will be smooth around each other, while others may be coarse. Characters will attempt things or say dialogue through roleplay by the players. The players simply narrate what their characters attempt or say in a scene. A couple of sentences are all that's needed for each player to describe their character's attempts. Players must remember that the character should be able to attempt things in the amount of time it takes them to narrate. Narration violations are discussed later in this book. Each player narrates for their own character. The runner narrates for only their own characters. There's no bleed-through narration between the players and the runner. Note that only the runner narrates mindscapes. Cinematics. Action. Roleplay sessions should be narrated in cinematic mode. This helps all the players visualize the scene as though they are watching a movie and that their characters are in it. The runner describes the area surrounding the characters, keeping the scope tight and telling only what is in line of sight of the characters. If it's a room, the walls and windows are mentioned, of course. Furniture gets a mention if there is any. Rooms can be escape rooms, futuristic time-slip cabins, chip-integrated digitized dreamscapes, or just a simple bedroom from the Baroque era with a vaulted ceiling with engraved carvings of golden cupids on it. Cinematic mode also means that scenes are handled quickly. In movies, how long do bar fight scenes last? That is how long such a scene should last in a game, both in game time and real time. How long does a mission briefing go on in a film? That is how long a roleplay scene should be. Minimalistic roleplay, attempting just the bare minimum. Minimalistic roleplay is very bare bones roleplay. During each player's turn, including the runner's, a player simply says where their character is and what their character attempts. Determining a character's motive or goal is the first step in deciding what a character attempts or does not attempt. Technically, a character can choose not to attempt anything. Maybe they are just sitting or resting, gelling. They should be sleeping until woken by something. Scenes can often start with a character that is asleep. A lack of roleplay never means that out-of-character talking is allowed. Players can even say what their characters think if this is agreed on via social contract. Talking in character, just talk. Roleplay exists when a player says where their character is and what their character is attempting. Players speak in first person while the runner speaks in third person. First person, I am. A player speaks in the first person. They say what their character attempts using I, such as, I head outside and walk over to the taxi waiting for me. I grab the journal and start reading through its pages. I yell, reloading. I'm climbing the next flight of the escape ladder on my way to the roof. I start filling the hole with concrete. I place the palm of the captain's hand on the scanner to open the airlock. I say under my breath, this better work. Third person. He said, she said, they said. The runner speaks in the third person. They say what one of their characters attempts, using he, she, they, or their character's name, such as, she heads outside and walks over to the taxi waiting for her. Dang the scavenger grabs the journal and starts reading through its pages. He yells, reloading. They're climbing the next flight of the escape ladder on their way to the roof. Max starts filling the hole with concrete. She places the palm of the captain's hand on the scanner to open the airlock. She says under her breath, this better work. Attempts are turns, so everyone is talking at the same time. Kind of, but during attempts, each player gets an attempt at doing something with their character. Specific things that a character might attempt are, Captain, I made it to the engine room. I think I can get the power restored if I bypass the regulator with a jumper. The communications relay has been stripped of anything useful. However, I may have enough material to send a single microburst SOS. I attempt to use the equipment to call one of my contacts. I attempt to grapple the warthog. I pour a beer from a tap keg in jest. I object and move to strike yesterday from the record. The player can say their attempt in a couple of sentences. Granted, the character should be able to attempt the thing said in the time it took for the player to say it. Where everything is. The runner typically narrates the scene. It's something short and sweet and pertains to the scene a character finds himself. There's no mention of any Galactic Empire Empress or rebel faction. There's no text crawl to read, as seen in a Flash Gordon opening shot. The runner does not info dump walls of text, as it were, onto a player describing the current setting their character is in. Instead, the runner only describes the immediate area and view of a character. You're near the laundry room of the house. There are clothes hanging from a hamper next to a dryer and a box of detergent on top of the closed lid of a washer. Nothing is said about the graveyard at the other end of the road from this house. Nothing is said about what is upstairs, assuming the house has an upstairs. There's no mention of the police station with cops on duty at this hour. Only the immediate area is described. Where a character is. The player narrates where their character is in a scene. I step into the laundry area and look around. There's a door at the other side, says the runner. What a character is attempting. The player narrates what their character attempts in a scene. I walk over to the washer, I move the detergent, and open the washer lid. A scrap of paper falls to the floor next to your feet, says the runner. I pick it up, says the player. It's a note that's lost some of its stickiness on the back. There's writing that says, I miss her so much still, you know? I go to the other door and turn the knob to enter the room. You're in a darkened garage. The door slams shut behind you. It's pitch black now. There's the sound of a car's idling engine. The exhaust-filled room is unbreathable. Role-playing with other characters. Things are getting mental. Though role-playing by oneself is possible using methods from solo game rules, most role-playing is done with a group of players. Characters will encounter other characters and situations can occur between them. Each player says where their character is during their attempt. That way, each player can see in their mindscape where all the other characters are in relation to their character. Each player will know how far away the other characters are, if their character can see them, and if they can hear them. The reason for creating such mindscapes is to establish the 3D space where each character is located in a scene. Will the character be close enough to toss something over to them? Will it take a few attempts before a character has moved close enough to them? Is everyone bumping into or blocking each other from traversing a zero-G crawl space with their weapons drawn? And that's the end of chapter 4. We'll pick up next time. I believe we'll finish it. I think there's 1.5 chapters, maybe 2. I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks for listening.